Welcome to No Code Nation. Today, let's start by creating a page from scratch using bubble.io. So, if you haven't created any application, just click on application and you can refer my previous tutorial to create a new app. Then you can just simply click on it to enter into the bubble editor for that particular application. It will redirect us to the bubble editor. So here we have 404 page, index page, and reset password page, which Bubble automatically creates for us. So index is the main page for any application, whether it is web, HTML, CSS based application or whatever. It's named with index only. So let's start editing the index page here. So once you'll hover on here, you'll be able to see this canvas. This is the bubble canvas where we can drag and drop our elements to create any kind of application. So first for this index page, we can change the page title. For example, I am changing it to No Code Nation. Do we have a different mobile version? We can select type of content or anything. We wanted to give any background color, image, gradient, video, anything. SEO content is also can be controlled from here. So this is, I have changed the page title. So let's start by drag and dropping the components which Bubble offers for easy creation of our application here. So we have different layouts that Bubble has provided to make our work easier. So we have different page layouts, headers, marketing, sidebars, footers, list and feeds, input and forms, and app elements which are already pre-built default from the Bubble. So, for example, we wanted to add a header to our particular application. We can just simply click on it. Whatever application, whatever header we like, we can just simply drag and dropping it. But as this is a new application, they wanted us to install plugins to use components. So we can simply click on the button install. It will automatically install all those plugins which will be necessary to use these components to make our work easier. The plugins have now been installed to our library, plugin library, so we can now able to grasp these components that are pre-built in the bubble. And later we can edit it according to our requirement. For example, I like this first one template, so I will simply take it and drop it in my index page. As you will be able to see, now that particular header component has been dropped into my application. If you guys wanted to see in the front end, you can just simply click on preview and you will be able to see this in the front end. As I previously mentioned, if you wanted to have a few like full view without the debugger provided by the bubble, you can just simply remove this debug mode true and hit enter. Here now we are able to see this header that we have currently added into the page. Now, for example, I wanted to edit these buttons. I wanted to have it a label of home, about, blog, and contact. See how easy it is. Do we have any kind of sign in, sign up? If we do, we can add it or we can change this button to anything which we like. For example, I wanted to make it an icon and label. For example, icon I wanted to select it to phone and wanted to add label of my number. Here, see, this is how easy it is to create an app. Let me change this particular image and replace it with the logo that I have. Simply just click on static image. It will open up and we can just simply drag and drop. It will automatically upload the image here, and we can control everything, its width, its height, aspect ratio, everything from this layout tab. For example, here we have given the fixed width. Let's change it and make its width 320. And I don't want to maintain the aspect ratio as well. And I wanted to give it height of my own choice. Let's say I wanted to give it height 50 and width also 50. So this is how it is looking. But my logo was not in like the roundness is 0 according. So I have made it 0, and now see. But as you can see here, this logo is not at all visible, and I don't want this text to be here. So I can just simply click on it and delete. And now I can change the width and height and everything. It is under my control how I wanted my application to show any of the component here in the app. See, is it visible now? Let's preview it. Once we'll go into that particular URL, let's refresh the page, and boom, we have are able to see each and every changes that I've done on the backend. One thing I wanted your attention to be at, for example, here in this elementary, it will be very helpful when you started creating a big complex application with lots of groups and elements. So here you can see this is the main tree component, which is index, whose layers, like different layers we have set up. So these layers are basically, see, group headers. Inside group headers we are able to see group margins. Inside group margins we are able to see this group logo, which is containing this particular image, group links, and these buttons. So later on, once you'll add more and more number of groups and components here in this particular page, it will be easier to access them from this elementary on the left hand side. So let's start by adding a text into our application. Here, as you can see, this text is very small. So we can just simply go and change the style. As my bubble application has already predefined style, global, which has already been present in the style tab, you can change it according to your application. I am using the default one for the tutorial. Here, you can just simply select any kind of heading style you wanted to add or use in your application. For example, here I wanted to write "Welcome to No Code Nation." Now, this text is left aligned. I don't like its alignment. So, by clicking on Layout, Horizontal Alignment, I can change it to center. Now, see, it is onto the center. Let's drop another element, another text, change its styling. I wanted it to be a little smaller, but in bold. And for example, I don't like this font style, so I can simply just change the font style to any which I wanted to use. For example, let's go with open source. Now the font style has been changed. Let's say font weight should be 500 pixels. I wanted it to be 14. No, 14 is too slow. For example, 24. And font color, I wanted it to be in primary blue. Let's make it alignment center, and let's write something. See, this is how our application is looking right now. So let's see how we can group these elements and what will be the benefit of grouping these two. Once, let's first preview it so that we will be able to see what all changes we have done in the backend. See, this is how our application is looking right now. So let's start by grouping these elements. You can select this particular element which you wanted to group, and this one. as I wanted it to be one on top of other. So I will group these elements in column container. Now the container has been set. This particular group B, I will say group home banner. Why this nomenclature is required? So that it will be easier for you to get any element from your elementary to work on future. So let's make it a homepage banner, as currently what's this layout is saying. Okay, so we are having minimum width of 40 and maximum it will take up to what all the elements are taking. So let's say maximum I wanted to define it to 600. Let's define its height to 600. As it is fit height to content, that is why it is not taking up our maximum height. Once we uncheck it, see, it is taking up 600 height. So we can adjust it accordingly according to our requirement. Let's make it 550. So now, as you can see, this content is not in a very good position on the particular page, and I wanted it to be center aligned. So let's choose the alignment from here. Currently, the container alignment of the container where you guys wanted it to be. Currently, it is on the top. You can make it into the center. See how easy it is. So now, like I wanted to add new element to it. Currently, the layout of this container is in column, so let's add a button to it. For example, here I wanted to add it as it is a column layout group, so it will definitely go in column alignment. Let's change its horizontal alignment to center, and boom, we have it. If you wanted to make any kind of change, you can simply change here. This label for this particular button to read more, and here let's preview it on the front end, and here we have it. Let's change its background to something which make it a little more fancier. Maybe some image or maybe some kind of gradient color or anything. You can choose it according to your needs. So let's click onto the home group home banner and choose with the background style. Do you wanted it to be a flat color, just like this? Or any custom color you wanted to add with any kind of opacity you wanted to give. For example, I wanted to give it 50% opacity, and here we have it. And for example, if you wanted to add some kind of gradient, and here we can apply any color you wanted to use. For example, this welcome to No Code Nation. If you do not like the spacing or you wanted to allow a gap in between the column and row, you just need to select that particular group, go to layout tab, allow gap spacing between the elements by unchecking and checking it. So it will provide us with row gaps, so we can add gaps according to our requirement. It will create 20 pixels of gap in between those elements which are present inside that particular group. So this is how a page is going to look right now. Let's say I don't like the spacing here, which default header has been provided. So let's change it to a bit more that we like. Let's hop back onto the group header and let's check its width. It width has been already defined to 1137, and let's make it to 1450. For example, let's see what happens. See here, the alignment has changed according to my view. So this is how easy to create anything on the bubble. So let's start another group. Let's create another group onto this particular page. So let me tell you how this components app will help you in the future references for creating any kind of landing page. This is something that we have created from the scratch. You can just simply drag and drop this one also, as Bubble already provides us with the default component. You can just click on it. You will find different page layouts, header layouts, marketing layouts. For example, here we have created something similar of this. You can just use something similar of this one. Whatever you like, you can just simply drag and drop it from here to here. For example, I wanted to create something like blog. I will simply drop it onto my application. See, this is what happens when you drop it on the wrong place. So we can simply just do undo from here. This redo and undo, these are very important and these will be very helpful for you while working on the bubble. For any kind of change you wanted to do undo, you can use these two buttons. Let's start dropping the element or component. Later we will edit them according to our requirement. For example, I wanted to add this particular explore all our features section onto the bubble application. See, the alignment of this particular group is not good. How I am able to check it? See, it is currently inside this group home banner. It should be a different group. So either you can change the group position from here, just like I am doing it. Are you able to see the changes? That easy it is. So let's change their position. That is why this nomenclature and this elementary is necessary when you have multiple kinds of group. See, we can give or add any kind of feature to this particular group. For example, this particular section we have been provided with minimum width of 20%, and I wanted to add some kind of property. For example, I wanted to have a hover effect to it. So let's define a condition by clicking on define another condition. Click. You can say this group is hovered. So what I wanted to change. For example, I wanted to add box shadow style. It is currently none. Let's say outset. And what happens? This is the third one. Let's preview it. Remove the debug mode. Do we have any kind of box shadow color? No. Let's add it. Let's say what changes we are able to see on the front end. Are you able to see? Let me change the color to more brighter one so you'll be able to easily see it. Are you able to see it now? One more thing. If you don't like, we have multiple boxes here, and I don't want to write this particular condition again and again. Either I can simply just copy and paste this side by side, or simply I can just copy this particular condition and paste it. Let's preview. And it is done. Let's create a simple contact form from scratch. I won't be using any kind of components here, just to show you that how easy it is. Let's start by adding a new text element here by dragging and dropping. We can edit it. Let's change its name to contact us. Made it center aligned. Change its font style to heading 2. And let's drag and drop the input fields. Full name, changing its alignment to center. This is our placeholder. We can change the content format to text, email, whatever we wanted to choose. Let's say I am copying and pasting it here. Again, we are having this particular input field where we can write email, change its content type to email, pasting again. We can write it to subject, content format we already have. Then we can add a multi-line input for our message. Changing its alignment to center. Message. So now let's make a group for these elements, and let's also drop a button also. Then we'll make a group. Changing it names to button submit. Submit. I am grouping this element in column container. Now I can allow the spacing. I can make it center aligned. I wanted to change the width of these contents. Let's say maximum I wanted to give it 500. See. Now let's make another group which we will name again in column format. Again we will allow some spacing, and we'll name this particular group to group contact us. Now our customized form has been created. Let's add some padding and some background color to it. Let's now preview this application or website landing page. And here we are having our contact us. Now let's drop a footer from the components to make it more easier. Go to components, go to footer. I wanted its footer to be very simple, so just drop it. I don't like the background color for the footer, so I'm changing it to none. Changing the component to match my header also. Home, about, blog, contact. So changing these wording. Home, about, blog, contact. We can customize it according to our needs. Changing the copyright. And let's switch back to the front end. Let's say I don't like this particular footer for my application and I don't want it. So we can simply just delete it and drop a new footer just like this. And we can edit it. I wanted to copy this, so just simply copy and paste. Delete this element. Now let's preview. Here we are having a good working functional footer, a contact form, a features page, a home page banner, and a header. Now with the website, we can create a simple landing page. We can create any kind of thing from scratch, just like this.